Hey everybody, it's Kaylee. I am back with another what sold from last week video. Starting to catch up on them. Hopefully I can keep this rhythm going. So sales have been really good, and I do find that I'm struggling to keep increasing the average sale price. I've just had so much going on, and behind the scenes, I've been trying to move out all of this older inventory. You guys might not be able to tell, but this is my row 1, which is the oldest items that I have listed. So I'm starting to shrink down inventory a little bit at the same time as increasing inventory. I feel like I need to refocus and just work on one goal at a time. So the current goal is to increase average sale price to close to $40. I would like to reach that by the end of the year. Can we do it? I'm not sure, but I'm sure as heck gonna try. So we're gonna dive into the sales and see what higher ASP items I have been selling, both on eBay and Poshmark. All right, you guys, so all these sales that you see here on the screen happened between December 10th through the 16th. And it was honestly a pretty slow week for me. This is not a normal week, and I honestly don't have any explanation for it because the following week was really good. Things are just kind of dicey around the holidays. You never really know if people are going to be out shopping in person and not really online, or if they're going to be heavily shopping online. You're going to have a really great sales week. So lots of up and downs around the holiday time, and this was definitely a down week for me. But still not too bad of sales, just not what I'm used to these days. So in total, I sold 222 items between eBay and Poshmark. I thought the numbers this week were kind of funny. I actually had to do a double check, and I was like, is this right, or did I type something wrong? But I sold exactly 111 items on both eBay and Poshmark. How weird is that? My gross item sales were $6,656.51. My average sale price was pretty low this week. Average sale price of around $34 on eBay and around $26 on Poshmark, making my total average item sale price around $30, which is, again, a lot lower. But overall, like I said, even for it being a slow week, I am pretty happy with these sales. So let's dive in. So this first one is a brand I definitely recommend you guys know about. It is called The Row. Very simple tag. Their pieces are pretty minimalist looking in my opinion, but very high quality. This one is a long sleeve dress, size extra large, very popular style. This one, I actually got 2 of these identical dresses in different colors in wholesale, and they both sold really quickly. So this one I listed for around $150, and it did sell for my full asking price. I think I've also sold the other one too. All right, next up, this is Burberry's. I thought I would share this one with you because this is one that people come across pretty often, and then they wonder if it's fake. But Burberry's is a vintage label by Burberry. Not to say there can't still be fakes and things like that, but this was a really nice vintage Burberry's women's wool midi skirt. And the thing with Burberry in general is if you have anything plaid, it's going to increase the value a lot. And then especially if you have this colorway, which is kind of like their what they're kind of known for, it's going to increase the value even more. So this one I felt was a really good piece just for the colorway and the plaid. I listed it high at $100. I say high because with the vintage Burberry's line, it doesn't typically sell for a lot, but since it had the classic plaid and everything like that, I went ahead and listed it higher, and this one did sell for my full asking price. Next up is a shoe brand I continue to get in just about anything. It is Doc Martens. These are kind of an interesting pair of boots, not very typical for them, I don't feel like, because it's kind of a low platform, but these are called the men's Tobias boots. I listed these for $65. They sold for my full asking price, and these actually went on an international sale. All right, this is also a brand I recommend you guys know about. It is Reiss, R-E-I-S-S. This is a designer brand, a pretty good following on this, and really retains its value. This is called the Anna Pastel jumper, which is another word for sweater in some other countries. One thing I really like about this brand is, obviously, if you have it new with tags, you're going to have the style name, but on the if it's not new tags on the inside material tag, it usually has the exact style name, so it's really easy to do comps and get things listed. So this one I priced up high because it was new tags. You can see it retails for almost $300, so like I said, lots of value there. This one I listed at $100, and I sent out offers, and someone accepted an offer of $80. So great sale, great return on investment. All right, I talk about Ralph Lauren a lot and specific things you can look for that hold a lot of value. This is a new one for me. It is called Polo Country, which is a new line that I didn't know Ralph Lauren made. First time finding it. Main reason we were looking at getting this was because it was all over corduroy, and Ralph Lauren corduroy things sell really well. This is a like vintage looking kind of barn jacket, but this is, like I said, a newer label to me and one that I'm going to keep my eye out for. We listed this at $75. It did sell for full asking price. All right, this is also a newer brand to me, and just in general, if you see styles like this, kind of like edgy, login looky, I would definitely look up the brand and the piece that you have, because I don't know, it gives me like futuristic vibes, and I think that this is a very popular trend right now. So this is called Heffen by Frankie, and when I did comps on this, not a lot listed, but as much had sold. So it seems like it might be kind of an up-and-coming brand, or maybe a vintage brand, I'm not really sure, but really great comps. This one actually sold in a bundle with some other things, and so I'm kind of guesstimating here, but I listed it at $80. I think it sold for around $65 for this individual item after the bundle discount. All right, next up, this is a Ralph Lauren piece, again with Ralph Lauren. One thing you can specifically look for is anything that looks kind of Western or Southwestern. This is a very Southwestern, multicolor, longer length cardigan, so I knew that this would sell for quite a bit. We estimated it being a size 3X, so that really increased the value. Listed this for $70, and I was kind of shooting for the moon. Sometimes you kind of have to make up prices with things like this, and it sold for my full asking price. It did take a few months to sell, but full price sale, so very happy with that. Definitely something to keep your eye out for in Ralph Lauren. Here's another Ralph Lauren piece. This is also something I would keep your eye out for during this time of the year, which are really nice kind of dressier coats in both women's and men's. This is a vintage label. This was a women's wool coat. I listed this a few months ago and have since turned on best offer. I originally listed it at $85. It ended up selling for $55 on eBay. All right, this is a surprising brand lately. This is a brand I used to pass on all the time, but everything that I'm listing is selling, so I guess I'm going to continue taking chances on it. It is Universal Standard, not to be confused with Universal Thread. And Universal Standard has their own sizing, so a size medium actually translates according to their size chart to a size 1X. So you want to be careful with this brand, and this is kind of how we listed it in the title. This is a pair of like pull-on cargo pants. Definitely the larger sizes in this brand perform the best. Listed this for $60. It sold on an offer to watcher for $51. It sold within 2 days of listing. All right, this is a brand I don't pick up a lot anymore. It is True Religion. However, if I see something super unique or interesting, we definitely look it up. These are a pair of women's True Religion Joey, I think we spelled Buddha wrong. Whoops. Buddha jeans. They still sold. Really heavy embroidery on the pocket, which is the main reason we got them. They were just very unique. Listed these for $50, and they did sell for full asking price. Next up is a brand that's kind of newer to me, but has pretty good following, so I'm going to continue to pick it up. It is Esby, E-S-B-Y. This is a tunic top. I think when we originally got it, we thought it was a dress, which would have brought a lot more money, but it ended up being a tunic top. Still great profits on the tunic tops. We listed it for $50. It did sell for full asking price, and this brand all kind of has this like minimalist kind of relaxed look, so definitely keep your eye out for this brand. It has a really good following and it flips quickly. All right, pretty classic, tried and true brand for fall and winter. It is the North Face. This is a women's down puffer vest, and this had the specified down, the 550. So it's like the fill specification. If you see a number on it, I would definitely include it in your title. Any kind of puffer vest, jacket, anything like that in North Face with real down in it, I am getting because it flips really quickly. We listed this for $50 and it did sell for full asking price. This is a shoewear brand that performs really well during this time of the year. It is Sorel. I actually listed this back in the beginning of summer, so naturally they have sat until now. I originally listed them, I think, for $65. They're a pair of little ankle boots. They ended up selling for an offer of $41, which is still really great, but definitely a brand to look for during this time of the year. All right, this is one of my favorite brands to sell. It is Packed. They make a lot of organic cotton pieces. These are a pair of women's joggers. They are sustainable brands, so I think that's why they're very popular. We listed these for $45, and they did sell for full asking price within a couple weeks of being listed. This is a Pendleton piece, a good brand to be on the lookout for during this time of the year, especially in wool. This is kind of a vintagey looking men's plaid like shirt jacket. I think I originally listed this too high back in September and have since dropped the price. It ended up selling for $38 on eBay. This is a brand I don't normally get, but during this time of the year can perform really well with good materials, especially cashmere. It is Garnet Hill. This is a cashmere turtleneck sweater. Everything Garnet Hill cashmere that I have listed has sold very quickly, so definitely one to be on the lookout for. This one sold within exactly a week of being listed. I listed this for $45. It did have some light overall pilling, but it did sell for our full asking price of $45. All right, I've talked about Abercrombie & Fitch Y2K pieces and vintage pieces performing really well. This is an older label vintage Abercrombie & Fitch men's all over cable knit thick sweater. And I almost left this behind at the thrift store, but it just had I just have that gut feeling about it, I guess, that just felt super high quality. All over cable knit. So we used the keyword fisherman and heavy in this. Listed it for $40, which was just kind of a made up price, and it ended up selling on an offer to Watcher for $34. This is the brand Soft Surroundings. I listed this back in summer, probably too high, I think like around $55. Very unique maxi skirt, midi and maxi length stuff, and Soft Surroundings performed well for me. I listed this high because it was kind of a unique butterfly print. And this kind of thing is very popular with the Y2K aesthetic, which is why I listed it so high, but it has since sat and we've dropped the price, and it ended up selling for $40 on eBay, which is still a really great return on investment, but definitely should not have priced that too high, but an item that you might want to look for in this brand. Here's another great thick sweater brand to be on the lookout for in the men's department. It is LL Bean. This is kind of a vintage label worsted wool Nordic print sweater, which adds a lot of value. This one also sold in a bundle, so they get a little bit of discount. I have it set to my store when they buy 2 or more items. I think they get 20% off or something like that. I honestly can't remember. It's a smaller discount. So this one we had listed at $50. I'm guessing it sold for around $40 to $45 for that individual item. And then I also sold this in that same bundle with another LL Bean item. And this was a vintage LL Bean men's shacket. And I had this listed for $45, same thing, small discount with that, so it probably sold for $35 to $40. All right, this is a fantastic shoe brand to be on the lookout for. It is Ariat, and they make clothing as well, but definitely their shoes are guaranteed money, even when they are slightly slight wear to the leather, like you can see these ones had. Sometimes that distress look actually helps to add value to it. So these are called the Heritage Roper boots. They were kind of a funky size. You You can see the EE here. I had to look up what that meant, and it meant extra wide. So I had to include that in my title. I listed these for $35. That's just what the style was going for, and it's sold for full asking price. Next up is a vintage Patagonia label. It is their beneficial teas. So if you see this label, I would definitely get it. They have a very good following. So this one you can see is kind of faded, but really amazing following with this. I listed this for $40 and it did sell for our full asking price. Here's something we've been selling quite a few of lately. It is the Disney Spirit jerseys. You can see it actually says Spirit jersey on here. They all kind of have the same shape to them and usually a big like spell out or graphic on the back. Probably should have actually made this our cover photo, but we listed this one for $40 and it sold for our full asking price, and I have been selling a ton of these lately. All right, next up, CP Shades, one of our favorite brands to sell. This is a 100% linen top. Here is the label, kind of hard to see, so sometimes you might pass on it. Very like log and looky minimalist pieces. Listed this one for $40 and it sold for full asking price. All right, this one is Zara. I do like picking up chunky Zara knit sweaters or oversized Zara sweaters during this time of the year. Otherwise, Zara in general isn't a brand we get a lot of. I got this one specifically because it was very heavy knit. It was cable knit. It had color blocking, and it just kind of had like football vibes. I think like a Browns fan could wear this. So we listed this at $35. It sold on an offer to watcher for $30. And last one on eBay before we dive into the Poshmark sales. I'm looking for any kind of like hunting like outdoorsy kind of stuff, because that's just what's trending right now. This is a Browning, which isn't typically a brand I'd recommend getting, kind of lower tier, but this was like a really nice heavy mesh shooting vest, so lots of value there. Having a hard time saying that one. I listed this for $35. It sold for $30. All right, and moving on to the Poshmark sales. This is one of my favorite women's jeanswear brands to find. I find that just about anything sells in this brand. It is Judy Blue. These were a little bit of a smaller size, plus they were a skinny fit, which are both things I feel like kind of didn't help with the sale. And they still sold for an offer of $29. So like I said, a lot of following in this brand, and it performs really well. All right, this is a newer one for me. This is a brand by Chris Brown. It's called Black Pyramid. Did not know about this. Any kind of like wrappers brand I find performs well. So this is one I'm going to add to my BOLO list. Chris Brown, Black Pyramid, party tour jersey. This one sold for $35 and it had a pretty good following. All right, this is a brand that does not have a huge following. It is Lulu's. However, I found this new tags, plus it was all over sequin, and it was a more substantial piece in a jumpsuit. So for all of those reasons, factor stacking purposes, we got this. I don't remember what we listed this at, probably $45, and accepted an offer of $35. Here's a good shoewear brand to look out for. It is Rothy's. I have found that this brand has dropped in following a little bit, so I think if you get it, you might have to sit out for the right price and the right buyer. These were a really great pair of camo, pointed toe, really good condition, plus they were a larger size 10.5. Rothy's, so I listed these high for all of those reasons and accepted an offer of $76. Here's Aria again. This is actually a kids vest. Talk about all the time kind of glancing down the kids aisle, seeing if there's any like puffer coats or things like that in the brands that you also get in the adults, because they can perform well. Here's an example of that. This is an Aria kids multicolor little puffer vest. This went for $30 on Poshmark, which is pretty amazing for a kids piece. All right, next up is Ralph Lauren. Another kind of key piece I would look for in the Ralph Lauren lines is anything super equestrian, and this kind of goes with like the Western line, but this is a like bit and bridle chain print top zip sweater, not top, with a little spell out here. So for that reason, listed this kind of high, and someone accepted an offer of $45 on this piece. All right, I've been talking about this a lot lately. Coach bags. This is an example of a vintage Coach bag that performs really well. If you see anything Coach in this style where it's super simple, has the flap over and then the little turn lock, it's probably a really good item to pick up. Obviously you want to check authenticity. I always look up this serial number on Google, compare it to what I have, and just do some searches. But you can usually tell based on quality. Super thick, heavy duty leather. And even if it has a little bit of wear throughout, in this particular style, performs really well. This was called the Murphy bag, and all of them sell for me regardless of wear for about $100. So that's what I listed this one for, and it sold on an offer to Watcher. I think that Posher VA automatically sent out for $90. All right, next up, this is another LL Bean item. This is actually a women's piece, but kind of along the same lines. Thick, chunky sweater. It's got the like Nordic print to it, Fair Isle print. It also had some kind of ornate buttons here. I think we originally listed this at $50 and accepted an offer of $40. This is a brand I would absolutely keep your eye out for. It has a very, very high sell-through rate and resells for quite a bit. It is Ripley Raider. They seem to make a lot of like minimalist, kind of like business to business casual, lots of blacks and neutrals pieces. This is a knit jacket. It was called the knit smoking jacket, and it was a size 4 in Ripley Raider, which they have their own sizing as well, and it translated to a size large. And this one ended up selling for $115. So definitely keep your eye out for this brand. I've sold a couple of their dress pants, which also perform really well. Just a really great brand to look for. All right, this one is not a brand I would memorize, but just kind of style. Western stuff's really popular right now, so anything that heavily carries that aesthetic, I am picking up. This is a vintage women's Foo Shop Aztec vest, and size extra large too, so just really holding that popular aesthetic. Brand didn't really matter. We sold this for $36. This is still probably my favorite athletic wear brand to sell right now. It sells so fast. It is Vu Ori. These are a pair of men's core shorts, and they sold for $35 or $34. This is a brand that is kind of newer to me, has a very like Y2K aesthetic, and actually has a really good following. It is Ganni, Ganni. This is a really cool women's like long sleeve ruched dress. It sold for $35. This is a brand I've been talking about quite a bit. I've been kind of experimenting with it. It is Draper James, which is Reese Witherspoon's line. This one is a size extra small. It is a really pretty like tiered long sleeve floral dress, and it sold for $50 on Poshmark. So this is why I'm kind of hooked on this brand, because it is performing extremely well on Poshmark. Not so much on eBay, but on Poshmark it is. So I'm getting it even in the smaller sizes. Obviously do your best to like lens the style and just make sure, but a lot of the stuff is selling well for me. All right, this is a Lululemon jacket. I think we all know that, Lululemon outerwear performs pretty well, but the reason I wanted to show you this is because this is a reversible jacket, and if you didn't know to look for it, this might be something you passed on, because the logo is kind of hard to see, especially if, you're looking at the darker side of the item, where the logo kind of blends in. So just something to look for. I like showing different Lululemon styles because it might not be something you think to keep your eye out for. This was called the Urban Horizons reversible jacket. It sold for $64. All right, this is a Neiman Marcus silk blend pair of velvet pants. Velvet is really trendy right now. I'm sure that trend's going to die out pretty soon because a lot of people like to wear it because it's kind of fancy, dressier ish, and people wear it for like holidays and events. Since all the holidays and events are over, I'm not sure how popular this is going to be, but right at this moment it's selling really well. So lots of factor stacking, vintage, wide leg pants, silk blend, velvet. These sold for $46. And the sale of like all of last week, which really helped to carry me through. This is not the highest sale I've ever had, but definitely one of the highest. This is a Loro Piana cashmere coat. If you guys ever see Loro Piana, I would definitely look it up, especially if it is wool or cashmere, because the stuff retails for thousands of dollars. This was a mid-length coat. There was quite a bit of wear to this jacket, so I kept that in mind with the pricing. I ended up listing it, I think, for $650, and I accepted an offer of $550 on this coat. This was the first time I've sold something for a ton on Poshmark. And so this was the first time I went through their authentication process. So what happens is, and I can't even remember the amount, but over a certain dollar amount, I think it's 500, Poshmark, first of all, gives you free shipping, and they make you send it to their authentication center before it actually goes to the buyer, where they pull it out, they inspect it, they make sure it's real, and then they repackage it and they send it to the buyer. And I feel like it took an extra few days to get it authenticated, but I thought I would share that with you. The sale ended up, going really well. But this was, again, the first time I've had this high of a sale. So I thought I would share that kind of authentication process with you. But really happy with that sale. If only I could find several of these every single week and only have to list a few items. All right. And lastly is just kind of a cool vintage piece. This is the brand Jerseys. This is a vintage Lake Tahoe sweatshirt. 1986 was the dating. Really cool ski graphic here. With the vintage sweatshirts, if I can't find much about them, like if I can't find the exact one or very similar stuff, I'll just make up a price. That price is usually somewhere between $30 and $50. This one ended up selling for $35 on Poshmark.
All right, guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below. And then if you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified every single time I post these videos. Try to do them weekly. Sometimes I get behind, but usually they are on a week-to-week basis. Drop a comment down below and let me know how sales are going for you. Are they pretty true to Q4 for you? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.